Good morning, everyone, and a very warm welcome to the dignitaries, speakers, and all the participants for the inaugural session of 1 week webinar series on the occasion of National Nutrition Week 2020. The theme of the webinar series is Nutrition for All Ages during COVID-19 pandemic. I am your host Jennifer Saulam, Assistant Professor in the Department of Food Processing and Nutrition, Karnataka State Akkamadevi Women's University, Vijaypura, and the Program Convener of this webinar series. Let us start the inaugural session by welcoming address. I now request Professor Vijaya B. Korishetty, Finance Officer, Karnataka State Akkamadevi Women's University, Vijaypura, to kindly deliver the welcoming address.
A warm good morning to all the distinguished dignitaries, speakers and all the participants. Wish you all a healthy National Nutrition Week 2020. It is a splendid moment to extend my warm wishes on behalf of Karnataka State Akkamadevi Women's University, Vijaypura, Karnataka. It gives me immense pleasure and joy to grace all of your presence in the interest of organizing committee to this national webinar series on nutrition for all ages during COVID-19 pandemic on the occasion of National Nutrition Week from September 1st to September 7th, 2020, which is organized by the Department of Food Processing and Nutrition, Karnataka State Akkamadevi Women's University, Vijaypura, Karnataka. I would like to convey my sincere greetings to Honorable Vice Chancellor Professor Onkar Gowda Kakade for gracing this event with his presence. I am glad to welcome Professor R. Sunandamma, Registrar, and Professor P.Z. Tadsar, Registrar Evaluation, to this 1 week national webinar series. It is a fortunate moment for us to reconsider and strengthen upon the issues related with nutrition for all individuals during this pandemic situation. Hence, I take this opportunity to welcome our respected speakers who are going to talk throughout this webinar series. The webinar series is focused on a range of lectures in all stages of life's nutrition requirements and briefly explaining the physiological changes occurring during the specific age group. I wholeheartedly welcome all the speakers, particularly Dr. Sheila Chidram, Director, Anna Nutrition Information and Research Center, Kalburgi. Secondly, Dr. Lakshmi Tallur, Tutor and PhD Scholar, Department of Community Medicine, BLD, Sri B.M. Patil Medical College Hospital and Research Center, Vijaypura. Professor G. Saraswat, Retired Professor, Department of Studies in Food Science and Nutrition, University of Mysore, Manasa Gangotri, Mysore. I also welcome Dr. Uma N. Kulkarni, Professor of Food Science and Nutrition, College of Community Science, University of Agriculture Sciences, Dharwad. Dr. Bhuvneshwari, Senior Registered Dietitian, Keli Suchirayu, HCG Hospital, Hubballi. Dr. Renaka Meti, Associate Professor, Department of Food Processing and Nutrition, Karnataka State Akkamadevi Women's University, Vijaypura. Dr. Saulam Josephine Angel, Homeopathy Materia Medica, Bharatesh Homeopathic Medical College and Hospital, Belgaum, for accepting our invitation and going to impart their knowledge to the participants. On behalf of our university and on my own behalf, I extend my warm greetings to all the enrolled participants who are the genuine recipients of this webinar series. I wish a remarkable success of this 1 week national webinar series. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for the welcoming address. On behalf of Karnataka State Akkamadevi Women's University, Department of Food Processing and Nutrition, and on my personal behalf, I welcome Professor Vijaya B. Korishetty, Finance Officer, to this webinar series. Now I would like to invite Dr. Prashant S.J., Associate Professor, Department of Food Processing and Nutrition, for the introductory remarks.
Very good morning and a very warm welcome to everyone for this webinar. It's indeed a great pleasure for me to be part of this webinar series. On the occasion of National Nutrition Week, which is celebrated every year in India from September 1st to September 7th, The Department of Food Processing and Nutrition, Karnataka State Akka Mahadevi Women's University, Vijayapura, is organizing the 1 week national webinar series on the theme Nutrition for All Ages during COVID-19 pandemic from September 1st to September 7th, 2020. National Nutrition Week was instigated in March 1973 by the members of the American Dietetic Association, now it's been called as the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics, to augment the awareness among people about the importance and need for nutrition education. Back in those days, National Nutrition Week was not popularly adopted by the population, neither it was given importance to such movement. But with the forthcoming years, we saw changes and the public showed greater response towards it, which resulted in its rise among countries globally. Finally, in 1982, the central government of India decided to establish this movement and consider it a week-long celebration of National Nutrition Week. It is a matter of sorrow that people perceive that malnutrition is the own business of the family who suffered from it, not the responsibility of the nation. In a country like India, people are least bothered about the malnourishment and the improper diet causing harm to their basic lives. To encourage such citizens, the National Nutrition Week is organized for an entire week. After its establishment, people below the poverty line are getting basic food grains to satisfy their belly. Various NGOs opened in partnership to help and also to boost the movement. National Nutrition Week aims to process the intake of food for growth, metabolism, and repair. Our body needs two types of nutrients, that is macronutrients and micronutrients. The campaign is apprehensive and provides us with the knowledge of proper and balanced diet. As we all know, all people need the same basic nutrients like essential amino acids, carbohydrates, essential fatty acids, and 28 vitamins and minerals to maintain life and health. However, the amount of needed nutrients changes as we pass on from one stage of human life cycle to the next. The expression, "you are what you eat," applies, but it is like this: you are what your mothers eat. That is, from womb to tomb, nutrition is required throughout the life cycle of humans. Young children require a higher caloric intake relative to the body size to facilitate physical and mental development. On the other hand, inactive senior citizens need fewer calories than other adults to maintain their weight and stay healthy. Psychological, emotional, social issues and physiological as well as the hormonal changes over the span of human life can also influence diet and nutrition. For example, a peer pressure during adolescence can greatly affect the nutritional choices a teenager makes. Therefore, it is important to weigh several considerations when examining how nutrient needs changes. In your lifetime, you will eat 70,000 meals and most of 60 tons of food. These foods mean so much more to us than nourishment. So we should be very careful and wise in selecting the foods and should focus on a balanced diet throughout our life from the womb to the tomb. From Wuhan to the world, now everyone in this world is suffering from pandemic COVID-19 and the nation is in a double whammy. Good nutrition is the key to build immunity and protect against illness and also from infection and also from support the recovery. To help cope with the stress that may be related to the pandemic, take care of your body, including good nutrition. Ensure COVID-19 responses address nutrition through a holistic, multi-sectoral approach during the needs, assessment, implementation, and recovery. with attention to infant and young children nutrition, food and nutrition security, and social protection. In this situation, robust and diverse food supply is an essential part of the health and nutrition response to COVID-19. Providing proper nutrition to all the age groups at home during COVID-19 pandemic is a real challenge. At present, in this webinar series, we will focus on diet, nutrition, and the human life cycle from the remainder of childhood into the elderly years. This webinar series will be for 6 continuous days, and I request all the participants to use good time and get a maximum benefit out of this. I wish for the grand success for this event. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for the brief introduction you have given regarding the webinar series. I now take this opportunity to request our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor Onkar Gowda Kakde, Karnataka State Akkamadevi Women's University, Vijaypura, for the inaugural speech.
A very good morning to all. As the Vice Chancellor of Karnataka State Akkamadevi Women's University, I invite all the dignitaries present in this national webinar series on the occasion of National Nutrition Week 2020, organized by the Department of Food Processing and Nutrition. The department celebrates Nutrition Week every year, which falls in the month of September. This year, due to pandemic, community-based programs could not be undertaken. Hence, the webinar is arranged. The theme of this webinar series is Nutrition for All Ages during COVID-19 pandemic, which is extremely pertinent in the current worldwide circumstances. I am certain that your valuable talks will be helpful to conquer new difficulties and uncovering new way in manages the circumstances emerging out of COVID-19. COVID-19 is a pandemic which has impacted every individual life. A robust and diverse food supply is an essential part of the health and nutrition response to COVID-19. Providing proper nutrition to all the age groups at home during the COVID-19 pandemic is a real challenge at present. Hopefully, this webinar series will be helpful for every individual. I would like to appreciate the entire team of the Department of Food Processing and Nutrition for their work towards organizing such a broad, significant, and socially pertinent webinar series in the university. I wish the accomplishment of this webinar series and wish everyone to be healthy. Thank you one and all.
Thank you so much, sir, for your inaugural speech and valuable time you have given to us. I now request Chairperson of Department of Food Processing and Nutrition, Dr. Renuka Meti, for the presidential speech.
Good morning all. Respected Vice Chancellor Sir, Professor Onkara Gowda Kakade, respected Finance Officer, Professor Kori Shetty Madam, dear delegates, participants and resource persons, a very good morning to all of you. On the occasion of National Nutrition Week from September 1st to September 7th, 2020, 1 week national webinar series themed Nutrition for All Ages during the COVID-19 pandemic. In this webinar series, we will focus on diet, nutrition and the human life cycle from the remainder of the childhood into the elderly years. This webinar series will be for a week. On the day 1, that's on September 1st, nutrition during pregnancy and lactation will be dealt by Dr. Srimati Sheila Shidram, Director Anna, Nutrition Information and Research Center, Kalburgi. On the day 2, September 2nd, nutrition during infancy. This will be dealt by Dr. Lakshmi Tellur, Research Scholar, Department of Community Medicine, BLDE, Sri B.M. Patil Medical College Hospital and Research Center, Vijaypura. On the day 3, nutrition during early childhood. This will be dealt by Professor G. Saraswati, former Professor, Department of Studies in Food Science and Nutrition, University of Mysore, Manas Gangotri, Mysore. On the day 4, nutrition during adolescence. This will be dealt by Professor Dr. Uma Kulakarni, Professor of Food Science and Nutrition, College of Community Sciences, University of Agricultural Sciences, Dharwad. On the day 5, Nutrition during Early and Middle Adulthood. This session will be taken by Dr. Bhuvaneshwari, Senior Registered Dietitian, KLE Suchirayu, HCG Hospital, Hubballi. On the day 6, Nutrition during Later Adulthood, that's above 65 years, that will be dealt by Dr. Renuka Meti, Associate Professor, Department of Food Processing and Nutrition, Karnataka State Akmadevi Women's University, Vijaypura. And Physiology of all age groups, this will be dealt by Dr. Saulam Josephine Angel, Homeopathy Materia Medica, Bharatesh Homeopathic Medical College and Hospital, Belgaum. So, this is all the brief introduction of our National Nutrition Week. As you all know, every year the Department of Food Processing and Nutrition celebrates National Nutrition Week, which falls between September 1st to 7th. This year being a COVID, so we are celebrating this National Nutrition Week as a virtual seminars. I wish to inform all the participants that more than 650 participants have registered for this webinar. Once again, I welcome all the resource persons who have accepted our invitation to be a part of this webinar to celebrate National Nutrition Week of this year 2020. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for the brief presidential speech. We are at the last part of inaugural session. I request Dr. Nataraj A. Durganavar, Assistant Professor, Department of Food Processing and Nutrition, for proposing the vote of thanks.
Thank you, Ms. Jennifer, madam. A warm good afternoon to all who have gathered over here. It's my privilege to have been asked to propose a vote of thanks on the inaugural session of 1 week national webinar series on the occasion of National Nutrition Week 2020. I, on behalf of Department of Food Processing and Nutrition, extend my most sincere thanks to Honorable Vice Chancellor of Karnataka State Akamadevi Women University, Professor Omkar Gowda Kakade, Registrar Professor R. Sunandamma, Registrar Evaluation Professor P.G. Tarsat, Finance Officer Professor Vijaya B. Korishetty for providing a wonderful platform for conducting this webinar series. I, on behalf of Karnataka State Akamadevi Women University and Department of Food Processing and Nutrition, express a very hearty vote of thanks to all the resource persons for gracing your important work and sharing with us your knowledge in upcoming sessions. I would like to express my sincere gratitude to Organizing Secretary and Chairperson of the Department of Food Processing and Nutrition, Dr. Renuka Meti, for her support and guidance in organizing this webinar series. Well, dear delegates and participants, an event like this never happens overnight. It requires planning and bird's eye for details. We have been fortunate enough to be backed by a team of very motivated and dedicated colleagues, Dr. Prashant S.J., Associate Professor, Dr. Savita Hulumani, Assistant Professor of Department of Food Processing and Nutrition, and non-teaching staff for their enormous cooperation in the organization of this event. Further, I would like to take this opportunity to place on record our hearty thanks to Mr. Sandeep, Assistant Professor, Department of Journalism and Mass Communication, and Dr. Rohini Busnurmat, ICT Coordinator, for perfect technical support extended to us. We cannot imagine a river without water. At this moment, I express heartfelt thanks to the convener of this webinar series, Ms. Jennifer Saulam, Assistant Professor, Department of Food Processing and Nutrition, for her constant support and devoted efforts towards organizing such a wonderful webinar. Finally, I would like to thank all the participants who have shown interest and registered to this webinar series. I wish a grand success to the webinar. Once again, thank you one and all.
I thank you, sir, for proposing vote of thanks, and this comes to the end of our inaugural session. This will be followed by our first technical session. Thank you one and all. Let's move on to the technical session. Before starting the technical session, I would like to brief you about all the sessions. All the participants who registered and have joined the Telegram group will get the session links in the group 15 minutes before the session starts. All the sessions will be live streamed on our YouTube channel Akka TV, and it's an humble request to all the participants to subscribe for our YouTube channel Akka TV. Each day one technical session will be presented. As you all know, the theme of this webinar series is nutrition for all ages during COVID-19 pandemic. So from nutrition during pregnancy and lactation till the later adulthood will be covered in the whole week. The session starts with the physiological part during the particular age group, which will be covered by a medical doctor, followed by our resource person talking briefly about the nutrition during that age group. After completion of each session, quiz form and feedback form will be shared, which is compulsory to be filled for e-certificate. Those participants who fill up the quiz and feedback forms of all days will only get the e-certificates. So let's start today's technical session on nutrition during pregnancy and lactation. Firstly, I would like to introduce the medical doctor who will be covering the physiological part every day with us. So it gives me an immense pleasure to introduce you all Dr. Saulam Josephine Angel. She is in her final year of MD course in Homeopathic Materia Medica at Bhartesh Homeopathic Medical College and Hospital, Belgaum. She has attended many state as well as national level seminars, workshops and conferences. She has submitted her thesis work on a comparative assessment of the effectiveness of constitutional remedies and magnesia phosphoric in the treatment of primary dysmenorrhea in young girls. She has actively participated in several health medical camps related to HIV, AIDS, polio, etc. during her graduation and post-graduation. She also worked as a medical officer for 2 years in Sri Satya Sai College of Homeopathic Medical Sciences and Hospital, Dharwad. She presently runs a private homeopathy clinic at Hubli, Karnataka. This is the brief introduction of Dr. Saulam Josephine Angel, who will be speaking to us every day on physiology. Physiology of pregnancy and lactation will be followed by nutrition during pregnancy and lactation by today's speaker, Dr. Sheila Siddharam. She is presently the Director of Anna Nutrition Information and Research Center, Kalburgi. She is a retired professor in the Department of Home Science and Clinical Nutrition, HKES Srimati Veeramma Gangasiri Mahila Mahavidyalaya, Kalburgi. She was a visiting professor and guest lecturer at 10 various institutes and organizations. She has presented numerous scientific numbers at international and national conferences. She has attended 6 research courses in different parts of India. She has organized and conducted 6 fieldwork surveys in Karnataka, Tamil Nadu and Maharashtra. Ma'am has published 3 books of standard textbooks and 3 more in press. Ma'am served as Student Union Advisor, Lation Committee Member and Student Welfare Officer and NSS Program Officer. She also delivered talks on All India Radio and television on various topics like nutrition, womanhood, health, ecology, national integration, etc. She has mass contacted in service, awakening and education of rural and urban women and children. Ma'am was nominated as Chairman, Convener, Advisor Consultant and member of various universities, educational, social, cultural and religious associations and organizations. During her student life, she was an active participant in NCC and was a Vice President of Students' Union. She was awarded Best Student in her bachelor's degree in the year 1970, received Gandhian Ideal Student in her master's degree in the year 1976 and was awarded Best Home Scientist in the year 1989. This is a brief introduction of today's resource person. I welcome you, ma'am, for the technical session.
Good morning, everyone. I am Dr. Saulam Josephine Henrica Angel, currently pursuing my master's in homeopathy. Thank you for inviting me to this online webinar and for giving me the opportunity to talk about the physiological aspect on human body during different stages. So let's begin with our current session. Physiology during pregnancy and lactation. During pregnancy and lactation, number of changes occur throughout a woman's body, primarily to support the fetus during different stages of development directed by reproductive hormones. Let's go into depth on this topic now, and the contents are introduction, pregnancy, trimesters, body changes during pregnancy, fetal development, and lactation. In women, reproductive age begins at the onset of menses, called as menarche, and continues till she attains menopause. That is, menses ends and pregnancy is no longer possible. The average range of reproductive age varies from 12 to 51 years. Lactation period is a period that follows childbirth, during which milk formation allows for the feeding of child. Coming to female reproductive system, it has got uterus attached to fallopian tubes, cervix, vagina, and ovary. So, menstrual cycle is a cyclical changes that occurs from one menstruation to the next and is composed of ovarian and uterine cycle, which varies from 21 to 35 days with an average of 28 days. Menstrual cycle has got four phases, that is follicular phase, ovarian phase, luteal phase, and menstrual phase. In follicular phase, we see that the pituitary gland, which is situated in the brain, releases two hormones, that is follicle stimulating hormone and luteinizing hormone. The follicles which are present in the ovary begins to develop now and releases estrogen, which stimulates the uterus to get thicker. Then comes the next phase, that is ovulation phase, where high level of estrogen causes pituitary gland to release luteinizing hormone, and this luteinizing hormone causes the follicle to rupture and releases the egg from the ovary. So this is the phase where the matured egg is ready for fertilization. So fertilization is nothing but the union of sperm with the egg where the woman gets pregnant. So after this ovulation period, it begins with the luteal phase, where the broken follicle forms a yellow colored structure called as corpus luteum, which releases estrogen and progesterone for further growth of uterine lining. Then begins the menstrual phase, where the egg, if it is not fertilized, it breaks down and estrogen and progesterone level falls, causing the uterine lining to break further. Thus, the low levels of estrogen stimulates the pituitary gland to release follicle stimulating hormone and luteinizing hormone for the next cycle to begin. So this is the process of menstrual cycle. If fertilization occurs, that is, when egg is united with sperm, then corpus luteum enlarges and continues to produce progesterone, making the uterus lining thick, increasing blood supply for supporting the growth of fetus during pregnancy. This progesterone also causes the breast to enlarge. So this progesterone is also known as pregnancy hormone. So let's see the changes during pregnancy now. Pregnancy begins when the developing embryo implants in the endometrial lining of women's uterus. So when we see the uterus, it has got three layers, that is outer layer called as perimetrium, middle layer myometrium, and inner layer endometrium. So after implantation, the uterine endometrium is called as the decidua. Placenta, which is partly formed from decidua and partly from outer layer of embryo, connects to the developing embryo, which allows nutrient supply, waste elimination, and gaseous exchange via mother's blood supply. And the umbilical cord connects the fetus to placenta. Developing embryo undergoes tremendous growth and changes during fetal development. Now coming to early signs and symptoms of pregnancy, it typically appear within first few weeks after the conception, like headache, spotting, breast changes, fatigue or tiredness, constipation, food cravings, morning sickness, that is nausea and vomiting, mood swings, frequent urination, and missed period. So spotting or bleeding occurs during implantation of embryo. Body temperature also increases. Different signs are seen like Chadwick signs, Goodell sign, and Haga signs, which is nothing but darkening and softening of the reproductive organs. HCG, that is human chorionic gonadotrophin, is mainly seen during pregnancy, which is present in blood and urine. Linea alba, that is darkening of skin near midline of abdomen due to hormonal changes appear. Breast tenderness and darkening of nipples of areolas is quite common due to temporary increase in hormones that continues throughout pregnancy. Now coming to the trimesters. A normal full-term pregnancy is 40 weeks ranging from 37 to 42 weeks, which is divided into 3 trimesters lasting between 12 and 14 weeks or 3 months. First trimester, which lasts from 1st to 13th week, pregnancy date count starts with the first day of last normal menstrual cycle and conception occurs in second week. So body goes into enormous changes to accommodate a growing baby. Hormone levels changes, uterus begin to support the placenta and fetus, blood supply increases to carry oxygen and nutrients to the baby, heart rate increases. Symptoms in this trimester we observe is fatigueness, morning sickness, headache, constipation. So first trimester is considered as vital as all the organs of the baby start to develop. So it's important to maintain a healthy diet with adequate amount of folic acid to prevent any abnormalities to the baby. And it is also seen that there is increased risk of miscarriage during first trimester. Taking prenatal vitamins and avoiding harmful substances lowers this risk. Coming to second trimester, lasting from 13 to 28th week, mostly here most of the early pregnant symptoms disappear gradually. Uterus grow rapidly, baby bump is visible, breast show visible changes, movement of fetus is felt, which is called as quickening. So during this trimester, we can identify the sex of the baby. Now to the changes in third trimester, which lasts from 28th to 40th week or till the birth of baby. Final weight gain takes place. Fetus grow rapidly, that is 28 gram per day. Women's abdomen drops due to fetus turning in downward direction, which is ready for birth. Navel or belly sometimes become convex, that is popping out due to expanding abdomen. Symptoms like weakness of bladder control and backache is seen. Body's posture and gait is changed. So coming to the body changes during pregnancy, weight gain is the most noticeable change during pregnancy due to enlarged uterus, growing fetus, placenta, liquor amni, fat, water retention, breast development, etc., which varies from 2.3 kg to 45 kg. And after delivery, that is postpartum body change, there is weight loss seen especially during lactation, but influenced by the length of lactation. Hormonal changes. Progesterone and estrogen increase to suppress the menstrual cycle. Estrogen, which is produced by placenta, is associated with fetal well-being. Progesterone increases, which reduces intestine activity so that it can increase the absorption of nutrients. Parathyroid hormone is increased to uptake calcium from gut and kidney. Adrenal hormones also increase. Human placental lactogen, which is produced by placenta, helps in fat metabolism. Changes in maternal respiratory system ensures adequate supply of oxygen to the developing fetus. Circulatory changes, maternal blood volume begins to increase at 6 to 8 weeks to 30 to 34 weeks with overall 40 to 50% of production. Cardiac output increases but is still greater during twin and multiple pregnancy. Total body water also increases gradually. Kidney size and weight increases to accommodate growing fetus, which decreases the capacity of bladder and increases frequency of urine. This is seen due to the pressure of fetus on urinary bladder. Blood flow to kidney also increases in first trimester, then decreases by full term. Nutrient metabolism. Both protein and carbohydrate metabolism are affected. Appetite is increased to support the needs of developing fetus. Also during lactation, the energy is increased. A hormone called prolactin, which is responsible for milk production, stimulates appetite and food intake. Non-dietary intake, that is pica behavior, which is seen in some pregnant women where they eat foreign substances like clay, dirt, chalk piece, ice, etc., is seen due to poor nutrition. In absence of complications, it is recommended 30 minutes a day of exercise to improve physical fitness. Knowing about psychological changes, behaviors like depression, stress, anxiety, fatigue, sleep deprivation, irritability are observed, where depression can manifest itself into appetite disturbance or weight change, and anxiety due to weight gain, which can vary from one person to another person. Fatigue and sleep loss seen due to physiological changes and demands of newborn child, and also we can see irritability during pregnancy and lactation. Let's see about the fetal development, which begins at the end of 10th week. In the beginning, it measures about 30 millimeters in length and weighs 8 grams. Birth occurs around 40th week. Fetus is considered full term between 37 and 40th week, which becomes ready for life outside the uterus. So by 4th week, when we see the fetal development, so by 4th week, heartbeat starts, 8th week, toe buds develop, 12th week, fingernails and most of the organs develop, 16th week, it can take hiccup and suck thumb, 20th week, skin gets thicker, 24th week, becomes upside down, and legally here we can abort the fetus. 28th week, eyebrows, eyelashes appear. 32nd week, it starts to inhale. 36th week, there is rapid weight gain. By 40th week, the baby is ready to born. Now coming to lactation. Changes in breast structure. Anatomically, there is presence of lobules in the breast that contain alveoli, where the blood is changed into milk and passed through the lobular ducts, which acts like a passage to carry the milk to the duct openings which is present all over the nipple, where the milk is ejected during the infant sucking. Physiologically, when we see, two important hormones are responsible during lactation, that is prolactin and oxytocin. So after delivery, there is increase in prolactin level and decrease in estrogen and progesterone, by which there is onset of milk secretion called as lactogenesis. We see that prolactin hormone is released from anterior pituitary gland, is responsible for production of milk, and oxytocin releases from posterior pituitary gland, which is responsible for contraction of the muscles in breast for ejection of milk caused by sucking of the nursing infant. So continuation of lactation with increased prolactin levels stops the action of ovary, so that it protects the women from getting pregnant during first 6 months, where she will be in a amenorrheic stage. Milk is said to be seized in 1 or 2 days when infants stop sucking. By 5th to 6th month of pregnancy, breasts are ready to produce milk. The milk which comes for the first 3 to 5 days is called as colostrum, which is thick and straw colored and rich in minerals and immune factors, low in lactose and protein. Then nutritive demands of lactation is greater than pregnancy, and human milk is the only sole source of nutrition up to 6 months of age. We see that milk comes out of mother's nipple in most of the species, but there are different species like platypus, which releases its milk throughout abdomen, and which releases its milk through abdomen, and Dayak fruit bat, where male produces milk. In some mammals, where milk is produced is seen due to hormonal imbalance, which is also observed in newborn infants termed as Witt's milk. These are the major changes occurring during pregnancy and lactation. So today we have discussed how the organs, hormones and body changes during this stage, and also regarding the development of fetus. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Josephine. Now, Dr. Sheila Sidharam will talk on nutrition during pregnancy and lactation.
It gives me immense pleasure to participate in the National Nutrition Week celebration sponsored by the Akka Mahadevi Women's University, and special context to the COVID pandemic. And in my work for past almost half a century in Karnataka, Tamil Nadu and Maharashtra has given a great insight and knowledge, which I want to share with you with reference to the nutrition during pregnancy and nursing period. Pregnancy, as all of you know, is a very small span of 9 months. And in that, the first trimester mostly is disturbed very much with emesis or even nausea, vomiting, and all. So at our disposal, we have only 6 months to nourish the mother and the child as fetus as it is. It is really a great challenge, and it is not something that we can assess in these months and feed the mother and the child. So it is, I feel very strongly that we have to take care of the pregnant lady, not after the conception, but right from the time of the girl who is born. And very recently, all of you know, we have celebrated promoting breastfeeding, especially beginning with the. So here, it's very common, and all of you are very familiar. And colostrum feeding is ensuring the nutrition right from the life has come in this earth. And then first 6 months exclusive breastfeeding, 6 months complementary feeding onwards, then toddler finger foods. And here comes the great challenge and vacuum of adolescent nutrition and malnutrition problems like anemia and other infections, so on. And recently we have been proposing that at the time of marriage itself, we should go and we have a lot of our customs. In one custom in Karnataka, we have surgi. So with the surgi, we have to gulgi, the folic acid had to be supplemented to the diet of the girl who is getting married so that she will enter the pregnancy with sufficient stock of important nutrients like iron, folic acid, and calcium. This is recommended daily allowances, and you know that this pregnancy requires extra amount of protein and calories, and as well as vitamins and minerals. And you know, vitamin A has got very important role to play in the nutrition, and we have to take care of these. And here always I find that instead of imported technology from the Western world, I always have used one specific word like grandmother technology. Like I have been experiencing and practiced and the nutrition practices almost from 5 generations. And I found that our cultural practices of feeding particular things at a particular point has got a great importance and goes a long way in building a wealthy, healthy mother's nutritional status, as well as the promotion of nutrient supply to the fetus. And here I want to invite your attention the time-honored practices I was telling. And the moment the family or the community comes to know that the girl is expecting, and now we have used a special word in Kannada, bayake kaduvudu. It means she will have special desires, and we know it synchronizes with the perverted appetite. She likes particular things to be had during that period, and it ensures the physiological requirement of the girl who is going to become pregnant also. And we have one custom here like hannu kodu, the first 45 days or so, when she has pregnancy is confirmed, and there will be nausea and vomiting and this condition, the mothers, house family members, ladies do come and offer fruits. And you know, our India is very rich in variety of fruits. And these fruits, and they pick the fruits which are plenty of juice and which are citrus. And this tells us, hints us the nutrients, vitamin A, vitamin C, fluid, potassium, and so on. And then next we have Kalakupsa, that is the mother's family members do come, and they give her a nice oil bath. And this tactile sensation and the massaging of her, I think it promotes the blood circulation as well as any complaints she has got, she can share with them. And they feed her with highly nutritious foods. Especially, all our Indian sweets, they are rich in calcium, protein, and sufficient amount of calories, as well as the taste is there. And then we have what is called butti roti. Butti roti is the packed food. They prepare the food and pack and take to the girl's place. And here one thing we have to modify with the existing practices, that in the past, because they used to travel from one place to other place, they used to prepare the food overnight. But with the knowledge of microbiology and food shelf life, it's the best you prepare the fresh foods and give her. And then we have a big function which is called kupsa, or in the modern time we call baby showers. And after the kupsa or during kupsa, so there are many types of kupsa. Kupsa is actually, it's a blouse, and that enlargement of the breast or the increase in the weight, this all lead to she has to go for a new blouse. So this is the symbol behind that. And in that we see that we have Vanabhojan. Vanabhojan means where all foods are prepared in green. And green refers to that special group of vegetables, green leafy vegetables. And that we are very rich in the 5 nutrients, that is calcium, iron, vitamin A. And when you give freshly, it is having vitamin C. In addition to all this, there is also fiber, plenty of fiber, which takes care of her regular digestion, absorption, as well as elimination. And then we have what is called like Hirvacholi is again the green one, and moonlight, that is full moon day, they take her. And that day they prepare all the foods, mostly white in color. And white refers to the special food group, milk products, sweets, and other preparations. And these, give you a lot amount of calcium and protein and the taste and variety. And above all this, the girl feels so special, and she feels it's a very happy occasion, and that she is the center of all the attention of everybody in the family. And sometimes when you have time in the modern busy life, they take her to a river bank, that is Holadandi Uta, or even Teppa, going into the water in the crackle. And even there's one special celebration, all of Sankranti time, where they make kusril, that is the sweet we made with til and also sugar. And they make various beautiful ornaments for all the body, the bangles, the necklace or a crown, and so on and so forth. So this all is to make her feel happy and feel special. And we know that always the happiness will promote the proper secretion of hormones and enzymes, and which promote the growth of the fetus very satisfactorily. And now this what the butti roti foods we are very commonly we prepare rest of the time also. That is one is most common is sajji roti, jawar, that bajra. And bajra is more nutritious than jawar with reference to the calcium, protein, and fiber. And then dapati is a mixture of cereals and pulses. And they complement each other with reference to the tryptophan as well as the other amino acids. So what is lacking in the lysine in the cereals is supplemented with the dals, and then dal, which is lacking in the other thing, they're supplemented by cereals. And then we have what is called other preparations like pitla. Pitla is a combination of the Bengal gram flour and the vegetables. And they again complement each other. The whatever nutrients lacking in the besan flour is added up with the green leafy vegetables, so make it a wholesome and nutritious food. Then hindi pala is a mixture of all the legumes with cover, And that is again fiber and protein and calcium, iron, and other things. Then the senga holigi, groundnut, which is the bowl of all the nutrients necessary for that. Then maldi is a preparation with the wheat and jaggery, and it's normally served with the ghee. So sufficient amount of energy and taste and others are there. And then we have kodbele, which is again mixture of cereals and pulses. Then you have karchika, another traditional preparation, crisp, and you can bite them. And then groundnut chutneys are there. Chutneys are again multivitamin and multi-protein foods. And no senga chutney, groundnut, or linseed. Now linseed is picking up like anything because of its omega-3 fatty acid, and the gingerly seeds, and then curds rice, or traditionally we have what is called jalad jawar. The cover is removed and boiled in the buttermilk overnight. So all these foods are so good, and they supply whatever we have been recommending in the allowances necessary for the pregnancy and other periods. And here I remember that one traditional folk statement that whatever they prepare this and carry for the girl who's pregnant, they just don't take it in for one person. They have a strong belief that you should take in the number of 5 or 10 or 15 or 20, depending upon the capacity. And we have another one very good socio-economic and cultural practice that they distribute these foods to the neighborings. So it is like a notification of the expecting lady to the neighbors that my daughter-in-law is expecting, and they serve these foods to a little of this to the neighborings and all. And here I was referring to that folk statement that in Kannada, if I may say, Gaudra Susi Basri Adra, Ur Vandigella Barna Bandittu. That means the nourishment which is given to the girl is shared with all, and the nutrition level of everybody is increased. So this is what is Sarve Janaha Sukhinam Bhavantu, or Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. And our approach to this nourishment, and in our practices, always this infant mortality, maternal mortality are the yardstick to measure the status of this community. And all this will definitely help in reducing this yardstick, so that to assure that our community is hale and healthy, and we are getting ready to receive the arrival of a new life into the family, or a family, or in the community. And after the delivery, also we have many specific preparations, and they all are given maybe 5 to 10 days after the delivery. And these all are decoctions of various foods. And for all the decoctions, it is so nice that they add only jaggery, and essentially, and of course afterwards sugar has come. But compared with the sugar and the jaggery is slightly better with reference to the aroma as well as even the iron content, because we know the jaggery is prepared in the iron container. So the first one, these all are given for 3 days. Every 3 days you give this early morning after her freshening up and all. So alvi paisa, alvi are particular seeds. When they are boiled, they form a particular sort of a mucus covering around. And this, I think, promotes the well-being of the alimentary tract. And this alvi, when boiled, is added jaggery and some amount of milk and even small amount of ghee. And then kachu katachu, what you call, add in the pan and other things. So this also is made rolled into small balls, often I think almost like chana dal size or even the peanut size, with ghee, and it is swallowed. Then she's made to drink warm water. So this again is a prevention of any abnormalities or problems facing with the digestion of the food or in the elimination. And sabzi seeds are that seeds of shepu or sabshi palya. So this is not only given as a painkiller, they believe strongly, and I invite all our postgraduate students and research workers. So these are all in practice, and now we have to establish and conduct a thorough study, like what are the essential factors they are contributing for the well-being of this. And mente, the fenugreek seeds, they are boiled again. The water is taken and given as decoction with maybe all of these are the best substitute to these days what we have other hot beverages like tea, coffee, and other things which have minimum nutrients, and whereas these have got very high amount of nutrients. And this subspecies, I must tell you, it also is proved as galactogogus. It increases milk secretion during the nursing period or lactation period. And fenugreek seeds, when they take out the decoction, rest of the seeds, we know very well, it's a very rich source of calcium, iron, protein, and B complex, and that is made into the chutney and given with the lunch prepared. And of all this 3 days each, it comes to 10 to 15 days, and then you find that ant, that is the gum, which is the best is the bubbly, that is jali ant, and there are other types also. And these are pound and with the hot milk and sugar, they give 3 days. And later on, they make antinundi, which is special for the nursing mother. And it is abundant with nuts like dates, dried dates, and almonds, and ghee and coconut, dry coconut, which is having better amount of iron than the fresh coconut. And it is preserved for almost 15 to 20 days, and daily one, this antinundi is given. And another one also is gaskase paisa, that is poppy seeds. And this poppy seed, I have experienced, it is going a small or even very appreciable amount of sedation. So the mother and the child, is maybe in the past they never had paracetamol or painkillers or anti-inflammatory or pain relieving, and this will, we see the mother also will sleep well whole day, almost 24 hours, and you see even the baby is also very calm, pacified, and all. So these practices, I think if we practice them, it is well and good, and they very much all are available in our any shops and other. And in addition to this, everyday lunch in the whole of North Karnataka, we have seen hot prepared jawar rotis compulsorily with green leafy vegetables. And with the green leafy vegetables, you have just, very well, the 5 nutrients are there and freshly prepared. And we have to take care of the hygiene of these leafy vegetables by washing them thoroughly with the water, with the edible soda, or even if you have potassium permanganate, or even simple salt also is enough to keep away all the damaging factors which may be present in the green leaf vegetables. And along with green leaf vegetables, there is strongly believed and proved also galactogogus foods, namely garlic and shea-pus, that is sabshi, and the dry coconut, jaggery, ghee and poppy seeds, then lady's finger and fenugreek seeds, and even cotton seeds also. They are pound and extracted milk with that and given with this. And fenugreek leaves, mente palle, is also quite tasty and freshly prepared. And in all the leafy vegetables, they add small amount of legume. It is a red gram dal or green gram dal, and even groundnut powder. And these are a very ideal combination of leafy vegetables and nuts and powders. And these are with the nutrition and what today we are having the great challenge of corona problem. And we are very happy to note some of the reports in the media that if the mother is corona positive, baby born is negative and kept healthy, and how to keep away. And we all know very well there's no medicine for corona, and prevention the only way. And in the prevention, the most important shield is to build immunity through our nutrition. And you know that good nutrition leads to better immunity and better health. And for this, maintaining the health and promotion, I suggest, I think all of them are very common. So they may promote the lifestyle. So one is, again here, the time-honored practices of keeping water, drinking water in copper containers. And here, one more thing very important is that we always give importance to clean outside the copper vessel. And it is very, very important because water comes in contact with copper, inner part of the vessel. It may be a jug or a pot, or it may be a cup, or it may be a tumbler. So inside scrubbing and making the copper active is very important so that the copper ions get into the water. And this copper has proved a very good catalyst for all the enzymes and hormones in the body. Besides keeping the germs away, and this germ may include also the coronavirus. So the drink, and please remember, this is only for drinking water, not for cooking or any other purpose. And next we come to another important metal, that is iron. In the modern life, I feel many kitchens are keeping away these iron articles, and it is the best if you use them, starting with the vegetable cutting knives or a stirrer with the what you call kadchi spoon, and roti what you cook, instead of going for non-stick tawas and hindaliyam, best you have iron tawas. Then even kadai, in which you prepare some sukha curries and other things, they should also be cooked in the iron containers. And then even if you are making some snacks like chuda or susla and other things, better you go for iron basket, butti, iron things rather than other things. And even what you do, poundings, things, garlic or even chutneys and other things, better you have an iron pounding stone, so that all these will impart some amount of iron to the food, and this will greatly help in preventing anemia in our community. As with special reference to the mother who is preparing for the new baby as well as was already delivered. And sometimes it's very important to start having heavy meals, short and frequent meals. We are now suggesting for almost everybody to keep yourself alert. And in the also even Ayurveda and other system of medicine, they suggest you never eat stomach full. So short and frequent meals, which we recommend in all the dietetics, it is also important that there's one simple formula which I have come across, that 1/3 of your food stomach should be filled with the solid foods and 1/3 with the liquid, and other 1/3 should be empty, that is give space for mechanical digestion, other things. And there's one more saying also goes in the folklore, that pav garam and pet naram and sar thanda. So this means you are keeping all the diseases away. So pet naram is not eating stomach full. The stomach should be soft, so that there is some more space for this thing, and this helps in the easy digestion and whatever nutrients are necessary to be absorbed and goes on. And then we have working, how much to work. This modern life, and there was one very alarming report in the media, that this lockdown has added many people for the obesity. So even lockdown doesn't mean that you should not go out unnecessarily. That is fine, but at home, and many of us are facing that there are no domestic help. So you plan your work accordingly, and then you see that you plan your work in such a way that you keep yourself active. And especially for the pregnant lady, she should also be physically active. And there's one rule to be followed, that she should take rest before she feels tired, not after she feels tired. And even some of the exercises are also recommended by the gynecologist or the yoga, which will help you and ensure in the proper toning up of the muscles of the uterus and other birth tract, so that you can ensure also normal delivery with the proper exercise. And then a nap afternoon, I think, for a busy mother, for a busy family of not only two, but sometimes even 6 or 5 and so on, with the 3 generations people that people with about 60 and then newly wedded, and if you have any small children at home, it will be quite hectic. So it's the best for her to take a nap in the afternoon, so that she will conserve some of the energy and then be ready for the rest of the day. Then early to bed and early to rise. And here, early to bed, we also mean to keep away this electronic media, which have very many horrifying shows. This all are not at all good, and lot of disturbance in the mind and in the heart and in the feelings. And so you become a person to you master over the electronics and not become slave of the electronic gadgets like mobiles. And now we know we have programs around the clock. So it doesn't mean that all the programs you have to watch. So be selective and take those which are pacifying, which are sermon reading, and here a touch of spirituality also may add to you. So think of going to bed early means around about 9 plus, so on. And then also getting up early morning. So you'll see that your lifestyle is ending in a nice way and you're getting ready for the next morning, and possibly with the sun or even a few minutes before the sun. And here the sun, we always look into nutrition as a main source of vitamin D necessary for the absorption of calcium and healthy bone development in both the mother and the child. And then we also find when we are not allowing or are not suggesting walks on the road or a garden and all, so we can choose our own house, maybe kitchen garden or maybe a terrace, and in the garden you can also be very creative, collecting some ferns and leaves, and which can bring and decorate your dining table or even the sitting room and on. And if you have a few things like at least curry leaves or some other things, leaf vegetables which you can pick from your garden and grind, and it gives you a very great spiritual feeling, and you find yourself that is from my garden, and get a fresh thing and use for your kitchen. And if you have some green chilies in your pot or whatever you have, so all these you pick them. And then here I cannot forget also some flowers for your puja or a prayer. So these flowers now of late we are finding they're having color therapy, aromatherapy, or even different flowers have got different effect on your health as well as promoting our well-being. So instead of certain perfumes and even the incense sticks, like the udbatti what we have nowadays, some of them are very strongly chemical backing. So many times they cause irritation to the respiratory things. So best thing is you go for natural perfumes like flowers, jasmine or lily or whatever you have. So these you keep there, and as the day passes on, even the aroma or the smell also goes on reducing. So you are reducing and getting ready for the next day. And then you also have, as I was telling, very spirituality. It is a great philosophy what India is giving to the whole world, the concept of body and the soul, or we call Atma and the Deha. And here meditation and pranayama, if you want to explain in the biochemical aspect, it is like a deep breathing, which gives a good exercise for the lungs and intake large amount of oxygen. And it's got a very important role in controlling the virus attack or other things. And it is very necessary that the meditation, so whatever worries you have during pregnancy or even during child after the during lactation period, and there are bound to be, in spite of very good planning, having a very considerate family, very good partner, in spite of that, there are going to be certain tensions, especially for the woman who is working. So after the 6 months, or nowadays even 9 months, or even many of the women are opting for leave for 2 years, because we promote and we want to promote the mother to, so that the breast milk is available for her, for the baby, and it is not any thing, but it is a right of the child that it should receive milk. So exclusive breastfeeding, then supplementary feeding, also breast milk, or to give the baby, the mother's milk should continue at least for 2 years, so that it will have a better immunity, not only for the corona things, but even other infections which are very common for the childhood. And then food as a medicine, it is, I think you all are heavily loaded with this, and all our traditional foods which we use, we have the practice of already using in our day-to-day cooking, like the beginning with the haldi, arshana, turmeric powder. You have, instead of tea, you can go for milk boiled with turmeric powder, or even garlic and cloves and pepper, cinnamon and dhania seeds, jeera seeds, and fenugreeks, all these, and try to use them as much as possible raw. Because once you roast that, whatever the active, even the garlic, there is a chemical known as garcin, which is proved as an anti-cholesterol or anti-diabetic, or a hyperglycemia. And then you also have the curcumin, the important component in turmeric powder, which is anti-cancer. So these foods, you use them in the form of decoction, or topping with your snacks, or even boiling with the milk. So you take them, and definitely they help you, and it goes a long way that you leave your babies giving healthy and entering different stages of life, and the mother is there to watch the growth and development of the child, and she remains healthy. So we all say, no, Jaan hai to Jahan hai. So if we take care of the mother and the child during these two special physiological stress periods, like pregnancy and lactation period, and it completes. So the baby who is born may be a boy or a girl. A boy will be a very productive, and boy and the girl both will be productive, with a better immunity, with a better physical work, with a better mental work, and it will be a great asset and contribution to our community and our nation. So I'm sure with these few things which are given to me, I think I have shared my experience with all of you. I'm very thankful once again on my own behalf, and on behalf of my Anna Nutrition Information Research Center. I give special thanks to the Akkamadevi Women's University, and Dr. Renuka Meti, and also Dr. Jennifer, who have invited me, and also given me an opportunity to share with you. So with these few words, I thank you all once again. Stay safe, be safe.
Thank you, Dr. Josephine, for briefly explaining the physiology during pregnancy and lactation. Thank you, Dr. Sheila Siddharam, who explained so well the traditional ways of keeping healthy during pregnancy and lactation. So we all got the secret behind our grandmothers, who are still fit and healthy because they followed the right diet and nutrition from the beginning of their life. Thank you once again, ma'am, from the Department of Food Processing and Nutrition, Karnataka State Akkamadevi Women's University, Vijaypura, and on my personal behalf, I thank you for enlightening us with your personal experience and great wisdom towards this topic. This is the end of today's session. Kindly fill the quiz and feedback form which will be available in the Telegram group at 3 p.m. today. PPTs of all the technical sessions will be sent to registered participants to their registered email IDs. Thank you once again for listening to us. Have a great day ahead.